And now, ladies and gentlemen,
Put your thumbs up and say it's Tickety Boo.
Tickety Boo.
Tickety Boo, Tickety Boo, everything's Tickety Boo.
Tickety Boo, son. Tickety Boo.
Tickety Boo!
Welcome to Tickety Boo, the podcast with unscripted conversations from people who've lived it. I'm Andy Griffiths, and alongside Iona Russell and Ian Young, we're three working therapists, but more than that, we're three humans trying to make sense of life just like everyone else. In each episode, we talk honestly about our own experiences with mental health, relationships, fear, growth, and all the stuff we don't always say out loud. We're not here to fix you, we're here to make you feel a little bit less alone and maybe give you a few things to think about along the way. And in today's episode, we are talking about if our thoughts were a podcast. And I want to start by asking Ian and Iona, if your brain had its own podcast, what would it be called?
Oh dear. This made me chuckle when I saw that we were going to be talking about this. I seem to have a stress or anxiety thing where I clean. So, like, do you remember, like, a number of years ago where I let you know I was actually hoovering out the garden shed? Honestly. Right. And then I was just remembering, my son and I were talking, it's 2 years ago this month that our last dog died. But prior to that, she'd gone missing so I was worried that she'd gone missing to go off to go and die alone in a hedge somewhere. And Callum said he came back in, and I was crying and hoovering at the same time. So I don't know, my podcast would be around the joys of hoovering when you're about to...
Hoovering the shed?
Yeah, hoovering the shed.
And what theme music would you have?
Oh my gosh. I don't know, I'll have to get back on that one. I'm not going to say the obvious.
Right. And would it be you and guests, or just you and your hoover?
Oh, well, I like the idea of having guests come and clean with me, and then we can have a real conversations over.
Come clean with me. Right. Okay. Well, there's your title.
There's my new podcast.
Come clean with me. All right, Ian, go on. I'm quite afraid to ask this question.
Well, I'm still thinking about hoovering
the shed.
Yeah, I'd definitely be dressed in a dress with a moustache, and it would be
Freddie Mercury.
Yeah.
Freddie Mercury.
So what's yours going to be called then?
Do you know what? Mine's struggling with this one a little bit. Probably, do I care too much?
That's a really good point.
That would probably be mine, and is it for the right reasons?
So why that title then?
I think the first thing I've done is sort of scout for things that I struggle with, which really is a bit naff, really, because I've got loads of other really cool stuff that... Mm-hmm. But I think generally I do care too much, and maybe try and fix everyone and present answers when it's, sometimes I wonder, am I doing it for me, or am I doing it because they need the help? So that's probably, yeah.
And would you have guests?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Who? I don't know. So I'm not really helping this podcast at all.
I'm more inclined to know, what would your theme tune be?
Benny Hill?
Yeah.
Somebody's going to have Benny Hill.
The Benny Hill music. The thing is, you might think you just tuned into this, podcast going, hang on, I thought this was about mental health and well-being. But some of these fake titles that are funny, they actually are rooted in something real.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mine's obviously a need to have control when I'm not in control, which is why I clean.
Insecurity, anxiety, loneliness, doubt. It's interesting, isn't it, how our sense of humour reveals our coping mechanisms. Yeah. Hoover in the shed.
How about yourself? What was your podcast be called?
All right, mine will be called Welcome to I Don't Need Reassurance, but also please tell me you still like me. And it would be a daily mini-series where I transition from one worry to the next.
Oh, you've really thought about this?
Oh, yeah. I've got a BAFTA for it and everything.
Yeah.
Mm.
What would the theme music be?
Oh, That's a good question. What would the theme music be? Something along the lines of "Don't worry."
Be happy.
Or always look on the bright side of life.
That feels more.
A bit of Monty Python.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I can really relate to that sort of period in my life of, tell me people still like me, because that was really important to me. That was one of my big hang-ups and insecurities.
I mean, thinking about it, my podcast, how fast can I keep running at this pace before I land flat on my face? And I think the music probably Chariot to Fire. It's a bit egotistical there.
Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it? We use this humour to feed us into what's going on with ourselves, but it does make you think, doesn't it? I mean, if you're listening to this episode right now, what would your podcast be called? And by the way, we would love you to share that with us.
Yes, definitely.
Drop us a message on socials or ping us in an email, because very often there's probably something in that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's a lot more in it. When I found myself reflecting on what I would call it, I'm like, oh my gosh, right, that's just really made me think about stuff I've not thought about for a long time. You're joking about hoovering the shed, but it's got nothing to do with cleaning.
Oh yeah.
It's got everything to do with where you're at. It's a sense of control in that moment of the madness, isn't it? In some kind of way.
Yeah. And on the podcast, like a minute ago, I stop dead in my tracks, or I get a bit flustered, and that's because it's the whole point of why we do it.
Yeah.
And sometimes friends of ours that listen to it might take it personally because they think we're talking about them, which we're not. But it's because it's all about hitting a nerve, and it's about making you, that have those thoughts. And
that's why we have these conversations, isn't it?
Yeah.
They're really important.
So often these subjects, they're quite hard hitting with us here as well, because then we have to live on it, recorded, take our stuff on board.
When I named my title there, I felt it. I truly felt it. Do you think there's relief in sort of naming our nonsense out loud?
Yeah.
Speaking it.
And I think having humor's the best medicine. Like, I think it's so good for us to have humour around this, and because I haven't hoovered the garden shed in years, I might add. So, and I think it's really good to know that that's where we go to. This is what we're doing, or this is where because we repeat a lot of those patterns. Like for me, and I think I would actually take the Queen song, "I Want to Break Free," because it was that not feeling free, not feeling in control, like all those things would be why I did that. But that'll also be a theme throughout my life. I mean, I haven't cleaned every garden shed of a house I've ever lived in, but it's just, if we can make light of it, then it takes the trigger out of it, and we can kind of talk about it, and someone may go, well, me too. And another one could be, we've got catastrophizing when people send a text and people don't get back. Like how many people listening to this have gone down that, like, I've not heard back from them, and so we can kind of have these more light-hearted conversations and go, oh yeah, I've got some crazy behaviors too.
What do you think personally the titles of your podcast were trying to tell you? Like, you came up with two.
Yeah, and both of them had a question attached to them.
Yeah.
And, so, yeah, they're obviously things that I haven't quite got answers for yet.
Something you're working your way through.
Yeah, but that's where my mind works. I mean, we could have gone down a whole one of, about what I've achieved and what we do, and we could have had a whole egotistical one, but I was naturally drawn to the questions, which are obviously questions I'm still trying to figure out.
Yeah, it shows you that there's importance in there. Yeah, there's work to be done.
Yeah, and the more I think I figure them out, there'll be another situation where I've either repeat it or something new along the same, along the same sort of area will come up.
It's almost like, you now need to write those things down and come back to them in a time with some headspace and sit in them for a bit.
And sometimes I think I've figured it out, I think I've got it, and then a situation arises. And then afterwards I look at it and go, why did I not say this? Why did I not say that? Obviously, I'm either not quick thinking enough, or
Yeah.
I'm thinking, well, I obviously haven't figured it out.
Is that not just part of the whole awareness and healing journey, though? Like, one minute you think you've cracked it, and the next minute you're like, oh, I haven't, it's all falling apart today. And then you can reflect and look back and go, well, actually...
Yeah, and I think as much as we say, well, that's a yes and no, I think, because I think if you're actually making progress and you are healing and you're working through the processes, whatever they may be and whatever our podcast is, we start to become aware of repeating our behaviour. So then we get to observe it. So we're not just in it and we're not the victim of it.
Do you not remember our fairly recent episode of Are You Healing or Just Distracted?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's because I notice in conversations that I get to have with my friends, it's like, oh yeah, like I notice I'm doing that thing, or so that is part of the healing journey. So even though nobody's ever arrived, we're continuously, like, life is a spiral, and patterns going to come up again and we repeat, but it's how we then react or respond. So I haven't had to clean the garden shed, in a number of years, but it's being aware that I can kind of observe, okay, I see where I'm like, oh my God, like I'm needing control, where we can start to become the observer, and then we can actually, we can make more informed choices, better choices. Doesn't mean there won't be another time where I'm cleaning the attic, let's say, with a hoover, who knows, but it's when we can observe, then that's when we know, and that's the awareness, and then there is progress.
So almost when you get that compulsion, that draw to go and clean the shed, that's actually now a sign that you can identify that actually in that moment you're needing something else.
Yeah.
And that could just be a hug, someone telling you it's all right.
Reaching out to somebody.
Reaching out to somebody. Although we laugh about the madness of hoovering out the Hoover shed, there's actually, underneath it, there's vulnerability, isn't there? Real vulnerability in that moment of, part of you really needs something. Mm-hmm. And recognising that inside of yourself.
Yes.
Isn't it funny how we have to use humour to kick these doors open? But when you do kick them open, you feel them, don't you?
Yeah. Humour's definitely my number one key. Both for getting other people to open up, and for getting like I said, making light-hearted humour of my own stuff. But often there's a real underlying issue there.
Yeah.
I've noticed as we've named these bonkers episodes we've come up with, we've kind of gone to a sort of quite a deep place in this conversation, and we're definitely in a different energy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which kind of shows you how, laughter, right, let's go there. Where if we think we just started talking normally and tried to go there, it's not quite as easy. It's like humour is this great vehicle, just to sort of drive you into that space.
Yeah, as much as it's a mask.
Yeah.
You can all, but do you when people are telling you jokes and you know them, or do you listen for do you ever actually listen for the underlying tone in the jokes, or do you just take it as funny?
I do nowadays, because too many times in the past people have been trying to tell me something and it's got lost in translation.
Well, it's that thing, never a truer word said in jest. So depending, it can be that underhanded, backhanded compliment where it's like, oh, actually, is that what you really think? Or
it's like I know if something's going on with somebody and I see them joke about something or maybe say something on socials, I'm able to go, I know, I can kind of understand where that's coming from.
Yeah, that's something I've learnt to do.
Yeah.
Especially in our house. I mean, the humour's pretty brutal between the boys in our house. But I am very, very conscious of what's being said and how.
Yeah.
Because there is often an underlying tone where I'll come and say, right, is everything okay, kid?
Yeah.
Because, I picked up on that. And in relation to everything else that's going on.
Yeah.
But also the other thing is sometimes where, people, they'll go down a road of starting to open up, and then they'll be trying to judge everybody else's reactions, and then rather than going deeper into it, they'll just make a joke of it, and sort of, it's a way of kind of backing out of that vulnerability and that opening up. So that is something that I've learned to be a bit more conscious of.
I think I know when I was coming up with the title for my podcast, I was definitely thinking about my past.
Yeah.
But if you'd said to me, Andy, what would the title of your podcast been last week? It was like, oh my God, there's so much to do. Am I ever going to get it done? kind of thing. Am I sinking or am I swimming? Yeah, and probably each week I'd have a very different topic.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And actually, as I'm sitting here saying that, I'll go, do you know what? That's actually probably a really good strategy for me to go, what's my podcast called this week?
Yeah, there you go.
Because it would pull me into a moment of reflection and ask myself better quality questions and go, why has this come up from the unconscious? Because it's wrapped in truth and there's probably some stuff in there you need to hear. I think it's probably, this might not resonate with you, but if you're going through stuff or you're just doing life, each week, this week, what would the episode of my podcast been called? And, maybe have a little bit of a laugh or a chuckle, or maybe you feel a bit sad and reflective for it. But within that title, there is gold for you to look at.
Who would I talk to?
Who would I talk
who
to?
would be my guest? And that's actually really strong.
Yeah, I think it is as well. Sort of a metaphor to move forwards in life with. But what it does is it leads you in maybe to have better quality conversations with yourself and actually to think a bit differently about your life and what you're doing at that point in time and go, okay, if the title needs to become better or different, what do I need to do? What is the title telling me? Because if I walked up to you that week and went, how you doing? You'd be like, yeah, just cracking on, getting on with it. Yeah, and that would be the title for probably the whole year, wouldn't it? Just getting on with it. I'm really glad that moment kind of came during this. Going, that's actually a really good strategy to ask yourself that question. And
you heard it here first.
You did, yeah. Quick, let's patent it quick before anyone steals our ideas. What title would your brain give today's episode of your life, and look within that and see what you can take from it. But I really do hope that you found this episode of value and the conversations and the vulnerability that we've been able to share within ourselves. As always, we massively appreciate you listening and watching. Please click that bell subscribe button so you get notified as we release new episodes, and we look forward to catching up with you in the next episode of Tickety Boo.
If you or someone close to you needs to access mental health support, please contact your GP, or if it's out with normal office hours, get in touch with NHS 24 on 111. Alternatively, contact the Samaritans on 116 123. All calls are free of charge from any phone. You can also find more support information on the Tickety Boo website, ticketyboopodcast.co.uk.